Episode 10 Animal Hospital. The episode begins back in Magix, where we zoom up to the Light Rock Fortress. Inside, we see the council arguing amongst each other about what to do to protect the fairies against the Wizards of the Black Circle if they ever decide to attack the Magic Dimension once they find and kill the possible last Earth Fairy. It seems to be a split of half wanting to separate the Magic Dimension again like we did when the Great Fairy Hunt transpired, and the other that they should find some way to defend themselves and possibly help protect the last Earth Fairy. However, both Councilman Gillian and Yurka voiced their opinions that it's too much of a risk to take on the Wizards, and so that no one, not even the Winx, could stop them, especially with how it's nearly impossible to obtain Believix, the one transformation that could rival the Wizards, and mentioned that Earth is so corrupt and far from being saved. This did get some of the members to stop and think about this, but is still undecided. The head of the council, Prometheus, said that they will summon a final vote in the next meeting, and the council dispersed. As the council members began to leave, Gillian spotted Balazar and asked why he was in such a hurry. Balazar explained that he must attend daily meditation for clarity, but pointed out that it was sleazy of what he and Yurka are doing. This could have been an opportunity for them to help take down the Wizards and save both Earth and its last Earth Fairy. Gillian began to laugh along with Yurka, who overheard the conversation while walking towards them. They took turns saying how incredibly naive Balazar is, and his childish optimism could bring an end to them all. Yurka reminded Balazar that the Wizard's magic isn't the first time the Council has encountered, for opposing forces before used that same magic that nearly eradicated the fairies of the Magic Dimension in the past, and they simply cannot let that happen again. Gillian also reminded him of going against him. After all, as Elder Prometheus' right-hand councilman, he will see fit of kicking him out if he constantly keeps defying him. So if he wants to continue to have a seat here, he'll obey his rules, which resulted Balazar to look at Gillian with disgust and anger. Yurka also asks if there are any updates with the Winx and the Company of Light, as they suspect they will try to find them to go to Earth. Balazar says that he's been keeping an eye on them ever since their visit to Althea and magically tracks their every move, so if they try to, he'll be notified immediately. He even displayed proof of screens showing the Winx's specialists, their clone counterparts, along with the professors doing their daily activities in the school. Gillian looked pleased with the information and told Balazar to continue the good work, to keep playing along, and everything will go smoothly. Then he and Yurka dismissed themselves. As Balazar entered his room, he made sure to lock the doors and pull the curtains, then used his magic to meditate, then summoned the Company of Light in an astral plane to tell them of the event of what happened in the meeting today. Griffin asked Balazar if Gillian and Yurka were suspicious of their plan, to which he said no. Farragonda and Saladin both attest to that, with the clones still doing their daily routines of teaching both at Althea and Red Fountain. Balazar then asks about the updates of the mission on Earth. Hagen explained that the Winx specialist arrived and found the last Earth Fairy named Roxy, but encountered the Wizards. Balazar is seen looking troubled with this information, but Farragonda eased him, saying that the girls obtained the Believix Powers thanks to the young fairy having faith in them. She further stated that Roxy is protected by some mysterious white magic that repelled the Black Circle from absorbing her, and Saladin added that the armor that Hagen, Griffin, and himself provided for the boys proved quite effective against the Wizard's magic. Balazar is delighted to hear these recent events, and didn't expect the Winx to find the last Earth Fairy and attain their Believix so soon, which he is quite impressed. Griffin also told Balazar that Flora created fairy pets for the purpose of finding the last Earth Fairy, and for the Earthlings to be around magic 24/7 in a manageable and subliminal way. Balazar says that he's pleased to hear the progress the Winx and specialists are making, but Hagen says that they also came to ask what they should do for their next steps now that they found the last Earth Fairy and obtained their Believix. He even mentioned that Timmy told him and the other professors that the Wizard's recklessness caused a scene in Gardenia, followed by Farragonda adding that they need to provide protection for the pet shop and the pets itself, for the Wizards cursed them into monsters to scare the humans before. Balazar began to think but says that the Winx and specialists should continue to defend the young Roxy and to earn the Earthlings' trust for them to grow stronger, and will send them the technology and magic they need to improve security for both the pets and the shop, then ended the meeting. Transferring, then zooming in towards Roxy's home, Bloom and Flora came by to check in on her and asked how she was feeling. Roxy commented that she's learning to cope with the events of what happened. It still scares her, to which Bloom says she understands. For being a fairy isn't easy. Hell, nothing in life really is. It requires tough choices to make, but says that Roxy will eventually come over them because she's special. Roxy responded that she doesn't want to be special and how she isn't like Bloom, that her whole life is here in Gardenia with her dad and Artu. Flora intervenes, explaining that one doesn't have to rule out the other, saying that she can embrace being a fairy while not missing out on normal things in life, something that Vanessa taught them. This does make Roxy to stop and think about it, but she's still saying she isn't too sure and needed some time to think about it. Bloom and Flora understood and both bid Roxy and petted Artu farewell until the next time when they saw each other. But if she needs to talk, they are there for her and she can give them a call. Before they left, Flora noticed the number of journals piling on her desk and asked Roxy what they were. Roxy quickly scooped up the journals and apologized for the mess and told them that it's really nothing. She explained that she loves to write a lot, but has been getting writer's block for some time now. Bloom says creative blocks is a pain to deal with, as she encounters the same thing with her drawing. Roxy admits that she's envious of Bloom's talent as an illustrator, and wishes she could do it, but she can never grasp it. Bloom thanks her and admits that she wished that she could have the ability to write as easily, but always had difficulties with it. Perhaps it's something that she and Roxy can teach each other sometime. As they left, Roxy looked at Artu, petting him and asked him what she should do, and then looked at the palm of her hand with an uncertain look to her face. The next scene transitions to the girls' apartment, where they began planning to head downtown to hang out since they haven't got a chance since they landed on Earth. Bloom and Flora came inside from visiting Roxy, and the girls asked how she was doing. To which Flora stated that she's fine, but she still has self-doubt within herself. Stella commented that even though she's not too fond of Roxy, she doesn't blame her. After all, it's still all a shock for her. Tekna also agrees, but acknowledges if Roxy doesn't embrace herself as both a fairy and Earth's only hope, then everything could go south. As they continue to talk, they heard the doorbell ring and noticed it was Roxy and let her in. Flora says she's surprised to see her so soon, followed by Roxy saying that she thought about what Bloom and Flora said to her earlier and in recent events that occurred. She realized that even though she's still unsure about being a fairy, she also knows that lives such as her father, Artu, and Annabelle and the animals of Earth are at stake. Musa then asked Roxy if she wanted to tag along with them, saying that they're heading downtown to hang out and explore what Gardenia has to offer. Perhaps she and Bloom can be their tour guides. Roxy at first wasn't too sure about it, saying that she didn't want to intrude on their hangout. But Aisha said that's nonsense, that they want her to come along with them. Aside from having fun, it'll be a great time to get to know each other and for her to know them a bit, if she wanted to. Roxy thought about it again and says that if they insist, she could come along, which delighted the girls, except for Stella. As the girls get ready, Aisha summoned the Book of Fairies to hopefully learn something new about the Believix Powers. As she summoned the book, it began glowing a golden light and unlocked new pages in the Believix section. Here, Aisha began reading out loud to the other girls about the new powers that a Believix fairy can gain once people believe in them. She points out that one of the new powers Believix can grant are 3 sets of wings. Wings of acceleration, wings of remembrance, and wings of teleportation. Stella jokingly saying that it'll be nice to have wings for teleportation instead of just relying on her scepter all the time, which causes her arms and shoulders to be sore, especially for this mission. As the girls were walking downtown, they stopped by Vanessa's flower shop to say hi and see that Mike was also there, which Bloom ran towards him and gave him a hug and greeted the other girls. Here, Bloom introduced Roxy to her parents and vice versa. Both Mike and Vanessa were delighted to meet her, saying that Bloom and the others told them so much about her. Then Mike told her that she's in good, capable hands with the girls. Roxy smiled and thanked them for both of their kind words, and that it was a pleasure meeting them, and the girls waved goodbye and continued to walking downtown. We get a montage of the girls hanging out at the mall, going to arcades, dancing, and are sitting and eating. Tekna says it feels like their first day as freshmen when going to Magic City. Musa pointed out how disappointed Bloom was when she first saw Magic City and didn't expect it to be what she interpreted. Bloom giggled, saying that she still feels a bit disappointed, which made Roxy ask what did she expected. Bloom explained that she was expecting chariots, unicorns, witches on magic brooms, and cauldrons. She didn't expect the city to be so sci-fi and technologically advanced. Roxy jokingly said that perhaps she should lay off one of those wizard movie series for a bit, which caused the others to laugh. Throughout their quality time, the girls see people are in disarray. Flora says this could be an opportunity to help them without using magic, but the others aren't too sure, but still went along with the idea. Each of them gave their shot, but failed to change humans' minds. As we see the girls being disappointed, Roxy is showing much more annoyance and disdain towards the people the girls try to talk to. Musa states that it didn't make any sense. They did everything they could, but people on this planet are just impossible to help. Roxy intervenes, saying that they need a different approach to how to reach humans. She reminds them that for centuries humans have always been corrupt and destructive, which caused much distrust with each other. Moments of compassion and empathy don't last long, but the way she said this comes from a place of disdain, as she's not very fond of people. Bloom then added that Roxy is correct. However, she also reminded her that humans are capable of kindness and compassion, using Annabelle, Klaus, Mike, and Vanessa as an example. They just need to be reminded of that, which annoyed Roxy a bit. She further says that as powerful as they are, they need to be more careful and must feel them out and make a connection with them through their hearts if they ever going to make believers out of them. The girls continue to explore and hang around downtown. Flora noticed that Roxy seemed pretty bothered by something and went over to her to ask if she was okay, to which Roxy said not really and explained to Flora that sometimes she doesn't see the point of helping these people. The ones they talked to the most of the day were straight up rude and callous towards them, which reminded her why she doesn't associate with people. Flora says she understands how Roxy feels, where she comes from, but reminds her that you can't condemn an orchard because of a few bad rotten fruits. She said, sure, there are people who are selfish and mean-spirited, that part is true. However, you shouldn't overlook the ones who are generally good and want to make a difference in the world. As Bloom said, you have your father and your friend Annabelle, as well as meeting Bloom's parents. Flora also added that you'll see that most people are good, but need guidance to set them in the right course. That's why we are here. That's why they need someone like you. You're the last hope, Roxy. So please, don't discourage the majority of them for the sake of the few who aren't. This made Roxy stop and think and realize that Flora does have a point, and she jokingly said, okay, fine, but I can't make any promises, and smiled at Flora. Musa is then seen waving and yelling at Roxy and Flora and jokingly said hurry up or they'll leave them behind. The two of them caught up and the others went to explore the city. As they began to cross the street, they noticed a bear cub running through the streets, viciously growling at anyone who tried to get near it. Roxy sensed that the cub was in crucial pain and informed the girls, but before they went after it, they noticed a girl with red hair driving after it in a little ambulance, and began to chase after both. As they were running, they lost track of the cub. Desperately trying to find the cub, Roxy channeled her power to track it and eventually found it in an alleyway. The cub began growling uncontrollably, which caused the others to back off, but Roxy walked forward. Aisha tells Roxy to be careful, to which she responded that she'll be fine, and she slowly approached the cub and used her magic to help comfort it and saw a piece of a thorn stuck underneath its paw and helped pull it out. After she pulled out the thorn, the woman they saw before found them and asked them to step away from the cub, and began rushing towards it with medical equipment, but noticed that it seemed calm around Roxy, and asked how she managed to keep him calm. Roxy responded that she has her way with animals. The woman thanked her for aiding the cub and introduced herself as Jessie. As she was about to take the cub, it curled around Roxy. Roxy then asks if she will like to come with them along with the girls. Jessie isn't too sure about this idea, but given that the cup wasn't leaving Roxy's side, she agreed and they all hopped on the ambulance headed to the animal sanctuary. As they arrived at the animal sanctuary, the girls, especially Roxy, were taken away by how amazing the place is, and were greeted by other vets and scientists that Jessie introduced them to. We see that here that Jessie explained that she and her boyfriend helped keep the forest of the outskirts of Gardenia and the animals here to be treated back to good health. She also explained that since the city keeps on growing, it takes away animals' homes and make it more dangerous for them when venturing into it. Jessie said it's a tough job, but she feels it's worth it, for animals are her whole world and wants to play a part to make them and the world a better place. Roxy taken a step back because she never saw anyone else share her love and passion for animals as much as she did. And remember what Flora said to her earlier. Before they began to walk inside, the girls see a Jeep drove up towards the hospital and a man stepped out. Jessie introduced the girls to her boyfriend, Paul, one of the forest rangers who helped maintain the forest and helps in the center. Paul introduced himself to the girls, but they were all stared and blushed at how good looking he was and awkwardly said hi. As they finished their introductions, Jessie led the girls inside the hospital wing, and Roxy instantly fell in love seeing and interacting with various animals, which made the girl smile for how happy she was. Jessie went up to her and told her that she really has a lot of love for animals, to which Roxy excitedly says yes, saying that she's always had a special connection to other animals. She spoke of how she felt that animals understood her and vice versa, where no one else had, and said they don't judge her because she's different, and she never felt alone since. Jessie definitely relates and says she sees herself a lot in Roxy because she wasn't much of a people's person herself, and despite her boyfriend and her team, none of them share the love and compassion of animals as she does until she met her. She was also impressed by the vast knowledge and details she knew of animals in the hospital, to which Roxy embarrassingly stated that when she's not training or working with her dad, one of her spare times is reading books mainly on animals and write journals of her own renditions of an encyclopedia of them, and sharing that she has a small shelter of her own for taking care of street animals. The two really hit it off until they heard an argument outside the sanctuary and ran outside to find Paul arguing with two hunters to whom Jessie and Paul are familiar with given their disdain towards them, and call themselves by their names Zuberk and Wolfar, who Jessie said are notorious for hunting down defenseless baby animals, and told them that this area is strictly forbidden and protected by the government from animals being hunted. The two men demanded that they move aside, to which the gang said no, and Paul threatened to report them to the police if they don't leave and better not catch them in this area again. Begrudgingly, the two men left, but told them that this isn't the last time they've seen any of them, and walked away. After taking the baby bear and nursing it, the girls bid farewell to Paul and Jessie as they needed to head back to Gardenia now that the sun was setting. Jessie thanked the girls for helping her bring the injured cub to the hospital and told Roxy that she had a great time talking with her and that it's nice to know someone who loves animals as much as she does, and asked her and the other girls if they would like to come back sometime. Roxy was surprised. Aside from Annabelle and now the Winx specialist, no one has ever asked her to come out or hang out. She asks if she was sure about it, to which Jessie replies happily yes, for they're friends now. At least she hopes they'll be. Roxy looked at her and smiled and said she liked that and bid them farewell. As they began to travel far enough to no one could see them, Stella used her ring to teleport them back into their apartment, where they rested and expressed how proud they are with Roxy today for opening up to other people, and stated how she and Jessie really hit it off. Roxy blushed and thanked them and said it was a surprise that she found other people who share her love for animals just like her and their willingness to defend, help, and protect them. She went and thanked Flora for installing that wisdom she told her. Aisha said it was a bummer for not getting the results they hoped, followed by Tekna saying that while that is true, helping the animal center was incredibly fun. Roxy then waved the girls goodnight and told them that she'll see them tomorrow for training and head home. At Roxy's house, we see Roxy trying to channel her magical energy, but to no prevail until she thought about what the girls told her to think about the greatest highlight of her life. We see the highlight of her dad, Annabelle, R2, as well as Flora, Aisha, the animal shelter, along with Jesse and Paul, and soon she began to see a sea green glow coming out of her hand and yelling, "I did it!"